Court is now in session. On page 1, Teresa Carlson versus Aaron Carlson.
For the record, this matter is before the court on the plaintiff's motion for order to show cause. This hearing is being conducted via Zoom. Present is Attorney Benita Huffman, representing the plaintiff petitioner Teresa Carlson. Good morning, Ms. Huffman.
Good morning, Your Honor. It's nice to see you. It appears that Mr. Carlson has not appeared.
Very well, the record should reflect Ms. Carlson is present with Ms. Huffman in her office.
Yes.
Well, it does reflect a copy of the motion that was mailed to Mr. Carlson, an address in Youngstown, Ohio. In addition, it was emailed. Is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay.
And for the record, I've communicated with Mr. Carlson before through that email. So
Okay.
I'm sure it's a valid email address.
Ms. Huffman, what's your request this morning? The court is inclined to suggest that you prepare and serve upon Mr. Carlson something that informs him that a bench warrant would issue in the event he fails to appear.
Okay, I can do that. Yes, I would like a bench warrant.
And of course, attached to your pleadings they appear to be emails that were sent from Mr. Carlson to Ms. Carlson and a third party.
Yes, Your Honor. They're actually text messages, Your Honor, and then there are letters. The text messages were sent to my client and her daughter through a shared account that Mr. Carlson uses to communicate with my client on occasion, because there's one in there that is specifically talking to my client. And then there are letters that he mailed directly to my client's home, which is the marital home addressed to both my client and their daughter, Kirsty, but Kirsty does not live there and hasn't for quite some time.
I do see, and he's incarcerated right now, Mr. Carlson, is that correct? He's in a state institution in Youngstown, Ohio?
No, Your Honor, he's been released. My client has actually seen him out in Ida, Michigan. We have reason to believe that he may very well be living in Erie, but we don't have an address for him. He often hangs out at the restaurant on Ida Lewis Avenue, that Route 66 or Route 55, whatever that restaurant is there.
And attached, yes, to your client's motion is, of course, looks like text messages, and then there's envelopes addressed to Christy and Teresa Carlson. Of course, we don't know what the nature of correspondence is, inmate correspondence. We don't know what the content of the correspondence was, but the emails, presumably, since with testimony, if we establish that Mr. Carlson sent those to the plaintiff, that would appear on its face to be a violation of the restraining order. And presumably that restraining order continues until further order of the court. So unless Mr. Carlson thinks that it became null and void by entry of the judgment, he'd be wrong. Ms. Huffman, what about if he prepared an order for the court to sign, ordering that Mr. Carlson personally appear? We'll give you a new date. If he fails to do so, bench warrant issue for his arrest.
Your Honor. So, I think I heard you correctly. I have not prepared an order, but I will. And you're giving us a specific date to appear, and that if he doesn't, a bench warrant shall issue. Is that correct?
Correct. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
we got a new sound system here, and then when I turn my face, sometimes it doesn't always pick up. I'm sorry,
My
Ms.
hearing's
Patrick?
not great, so.
Your Honor, I'm sorry to interrupt. I need to let the court know that I've just been notified that Mr. Carlson called the front desk at the front of the court, and he has been instructed to log into your number immediately. So, I mean, that's going to be up to the court as to whether you want to give him a couple of minutes to obtain that, but he did call the front desk at the front of the court.
Yes, we'll give him a few minutes, Ms. Hoffman. Obviously, I'd rather him appear, and if he denies allegations, we'll set the matter for a hearing. The court probably would be inclined to order that he personally appear.
Thank you, Your Honor. Let me go and double check that. I'll be right back.
Thank you. Are you Aaron Carlson? So he's driving. Mr. Carlson, if you can hear the court, you need to pull over and stop and park. You're in court right now. Mr. Carlson, if you can hear the court, you need to pull over and stop.
Yes, sir, Your Honor. I am pulled over in a parking lot. I'm not driving.
Okay, are you Aaron Carlson?
Yes, sir. I apologize for being late, Your Honor.
Okay, we need to recall. All right, Mr. Carlson, Ms. Huffman, do you want to talk with Mr. Carlson and Ms. Patrick? Or do you want the court to simply set a hearing date?
I think, Ms. Patrick, do you think it would be beneficial?
Well, I believe
Perhaps
that,
not. I mean, it's a pretty, I don't think there's anything that can be negotiable. Mr. Carlson, you received a copy of the petition. Why don't you first of all state your current mailing address for the record?
I don't have a mailing address right now, Your Honor. I let my probation agent know I would have an apartment next week. I'm waiting on, last time I talked to Miss Hicks, we were talking about money and stuff like that. So I made quite a sizable withdrawal out of my 401k to pay to, no, I'm sorry about that. To pay to Miss Carlson and that's about 10
Right.
days out.
All right, that's another issue, Mr. Carlson. What's before the court this morning is a motion for her to show cause. Ms. Carlson is alleging that you have violated the restraining order of this court by having contact with her and making threatening statements and harassing her. Those allegations. And if the court finds you in contempt, it could be ordered up to 45 days in jail. You understand all of that?
Yes, sir, Your Honor. I do. I disagree with that. I have texted them. And what's happened in the past is.
All right, Mr. Carlson, hold on. Since there's possibility of jail, you're entitled to an attorney. If you cannot afford an attorney, the court will appoint an attorney to represent you at public expense. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
Are you asking for a court-appointed lawyer?
Yes.
Okay, give a form. Okay, and you need to give and you're on probation right now, but you've not provided your probation officer with a mailing address. It's hard for the court to believe that you can be on probation, criminal probation, and not have a mailing address, Mr. Carlson.
I've been having my mail sent to his office. To Mr. Sharp's office. He agreed to do that. I was homeless and I wasn't sober. And I've been sober now for quite a long time.
Right, Mr. Carlson, do you know your new mailing address?
I don't have, no, I don't. Not off the top of my head, Your Honor.
Okay, why don't you give me a cell number that the attorney can reach you at?
330.
Give me a hearing date. All right, are you currently employed, Mr. Carlson?
No, I should be pipelining in May.
Do you have any income right now?
I'm waiting on a large check from 401k. Other than that, no. That's what's going to set me out pipelining again.
All right, since you have no income, the court will grant your request for court-appointed attorney. We're going to give you a hearing date, and the court's going to order you personally appear before this court, Mr. Carlson, because if you're in found contempt, there's a real good chance you're going to go to jail.
Okay, can I say something, Your Honor?
Okay, Ms. Hoffman, available April 30th at 3:15?
Your Honor.
1 minute, Mr. Carlson. I'll give you a chance to speak. I'm just going to try to set a date for this hearing.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
May 7th at 3:15.
May 2nd at 3:15?
7, S-E-V-E-N.
Yes, Your Honor, I can do that.
All right, the court will set this for hearing on May 7th. So, Mr. Carlson, you got a piece of paper and pen. You can't give the court a mailing address. So the court's going to order you personally appear on May 7th, 2024, 3:15 p.m.
I've got it, Your Honor.
Okay, we're going to have the attorney contact you by your cell phone. If you do not appear on May 7th, the court will issue a bench warrant for your arrest.
Yep.
Now, did you, obviously, you've received the petition filed by Ms. Huffman on behalf of Ms. Carlson, is that correct? Where she alleges that you sent her letters and you've also sent text messages?
I'm sorry, Your Honor. So that's what I wanted to speak on, Your Honor. I have copies too of everything I said. There were no threats made. There was
Okay.
a store.
That will be the subject of the hearing, Mr. Carlson, so you can bring all that stuff with you and you can provide sworn testimony on May 7th at 3:15 p.m.
Perfect. And Your Honor, the reason I got that information is I showed up to front of the court. I'm going to make a sizable payment to Miss Carlson and I was
It's a
inquiring
separate
about.
issue, Mr. Carlson. Child support is a separate issue. That this is it's alleged you violated the restraining order. You've made the threatening contact with Miss Carlson. It's separate and apart from child support arrearages. Two separate issues.
Well, I welcome her to prove that in court, Your Honor, because that's a complete lie.
All right. Well,
more of a
Ms. Huffman
harassment.
has attached to her motion copies of text messages.
She was never. I have the same text messages, Your Honor. I've showed my probation officer. He doesn't feel that they're threats. This is Miss
Okay.
Carlson's attempt to not let me see George. She's the one in contempt of court. She's the income tax check that you ordered her to give to me. She stole it, over $10,000. That's why she wasn't getting paid. Then I have text messages of her violating another one of your orders, refusing my part of the custody order to see George. I haven't seen George in 6 months.
All right, Mr. Carlson, this has nothing to do with the dog George. If she's violated the order, then you should file a motion for her to show cause. That's not before the court. It's irrelevant. The only issue before the court is whether or not you violated the restraining order by making threatening comments to Teresa Carlson. So that'll be the matter, the subject of the hearing on May 7th at 3:15. It'll be a Zoom here. Ms. Huffman, you can appear via Zoom. Mr. Carlson, you must personally appear.
I'll be there, Your Honor. I welcome that, and I'll have the attorney help me file the motion for her contempt.
This attorney will represent you in the contempt. This attorney is not authorized unless you hire an attorney. This lawyer cannot file any motions on your behalf, Mr. Carlson.
Okay, well, I've been to your office in the last couple of weeks, and I got the paperwork to file that motion myself. So maybe I'll just go that route because everything is in text message. It's clear. None of this ever happened, so I'm not really even concerned about it. So
Your Honor, for the record, our theory of proceeding is more one of harassing as opposed to threatening. And then the second thing that I wanted to point out is that we obviously dispute everything else that Mr. Carlson has said here this morning regarding all of it. Thank you.
Can I say something, Your Honor?
As long as it's relevant, Mr. Carlson, I know you denied the allegation, so we'll wait to our hearing. Then you provide some sworn testimony.
Well, I mean, as far as the text messages that they're calling harassment, for 7 years, that's how we've communicated for me to do the visitation. Now they're going to claim it's harassment? Come on.
Oh, Your Honor, Mr. Carlson's supposed to talk to the daughter about arranging visitation, not to my client, and he knows it. And I think it's best that we just leave this for the May 7th hearing, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. So Mr. Carlson, again, the personally appear 4th floor, Bronx Court, May 7th at 3:15. We don't have an address for you, so you need to write that down. May 7th at 3:15 p.m.
I will
Thank you,
that
Your
down,
Honor.
Your Honor.
All right. Thank you. That will conclude this matter. You can all zoom out. Have a good rest of the day.
Thank you. Take
Thank
care.
you.